Hi, I am Patricia Connolly, and for this speech, I am going to be talking a little bit about dogs. So, for anyone who is a fellow dog lover, I'm sure you can see where I am coming from of why I would want to talk about dogs, just because they can be more than just, a furry animal to have. They can actually be pretty beneficial to our community and to the health of some people, and they have some pretty cool positive benefits to their owners. So I personally have two dogs at home. I have a golden retriever and also a cavachon. The golden is pretty big, but she thinks she's more of a lap dog. And then the other dog, the cavachon, she is small, but they're both very lovable. My whole family kind of treats them like, they're one of us. So that's just kind of why I wanted to pick something interesting to talk about. So I chose dogs just because I am interested in them and I think that they have some pretty cool things to talk about. So I'm going to start off with different breeds of dogs and just go a little bit into that, and then I'll follow up with like a little bit about different occupations dogs can actually have and ways in which they help people and just some cool positive benefits. So to start off, I researched the most common dogs, so pretty much what dogs are more common for people to have. And the number one was a Labrador Retriever. And surprisingly, this is the 25th consecutive year that the Labrador Retriever has been the most common dog to own. That was then followed by German Shepherds and Golden Retrievers, which I was happy to hear because I've had Golden Retrievers my whole life, so I can see why they would be in the top three, but I am also biased. So, kind of branching more into that, I looked at what kind of, based on dog traits and the breeds, which ones were more friendly, maybe stereotypically bad, sort of. So to talk about Labradors, since they are the most common dogs to have, I looked on the American Kennel Club website and they actually have words to describe the dogs. So the Lab was described as being friendly, active, and outgoing. The German Shepherd, which is the second most common dog, they called smart, outgoing, confident, courageous, and, in quotes, a true dog lover's dog. The Golden Retriever, which is the third on the list, was intelligent, friendly, and devoted. So those were just kind of some traits. They are all pretty positive because those are known to be friendly dogs, which makes me think obviously that was why they would be kind of more common to have and pretty high up on that list. I then kind of wanted to look into the opposite side of that, so more stereotypically bad dogs, you could say. So this research kind of looked onto like the most dangerous dogs, and this was based on injuries they have caused or any deaths they have caused. So pit bulls and Rottweilers were actually the top two on the list of most dangerous dogs. There was some statistics, just kind of, they looked at either child injuries that these dogs have caused, injuries to other dogs, to adults, or any deaths that they had even caused, and that's how they ranked them on how dangerous they would be. And it's interesting because some governments have actually banned the breeding of pit bulls due to their aggressive nature. And I know that not all pit bulls do have that aggressive nature. There's some that are really great, and I know this is kind of also a big debate people have over the pit bull, and Rottweiler discussion of, should they be able to breed them still, should they not, just because they do get aggressive. But I think it kind of depends, obviously on the way the dog was raised or just things like that. So they don't always have to be most dangerous, but on the list, that's how they were. So then I kind of wanted to bring this into positive effects that dogs can have on communities. So as we know, dogs can be service dogs. So this can be helpful to someone who has a physical disability as well as emotional disability. So they can pretty much, they're well-trained dogs, so they have to go through a process of being trained, and then the dogs can aid the person in any way. So they could be a seeing eye dog maybe for someone who is blind. They can calm an individual who has PTSD, and some dogs are even trained to call 911 in the event of an emergency that their owner would be having. So those are all pretty cool things. Service dogs are amazing to have, and sometimes you wouldn't think about that, about how a dog can help people, but to the people who do have these service dogs, they are, kind of very dependent on them. It could be a matter of life or death for them. So that's an awesome thing that dogs can do. They also can be dogs in service of, say, the police. So the canine unit, they pretty much also train the dogs. A lot of the times, often these are German Shepherds. And they can do things such as track criminals, sniff out illegal materials, search buildings, and other jobs, which is cool because the human officers may not always be able to perform these tasks as well as a dog would be able to, so they can be super helpful in just helping them in whatever task they need. But they can also have other occupations such as search and rescue dogs, bomb sniffing dogs. So there's a lot of jobs that actually dogs could have, which people don't always think of because we think of them as more as pets, but they can get involved in some pretty cool things. So finally, I would want to wrap up with the health benefits of owning a dog, and I looked kind of clinically into this, kind of based on some diseases, which were pretty cool. So pretty much dogs can help people cope, with depression, anxiety, and stress. So for example, they say playing with a dog can release serotonin and dopamine, and these are two nerve transmitters in the brain that pretty much are associated with pleasurable and calming properties. Also, a study I looked at talked about dogs and children who grew up in a house that had furred animals, like a dog, and they actually have a less of a risk of developing asthma and allergies later in life. Also, this one was pretty interesting. I have never heard of this, but studies have shown that Alzheimer patients who have dementia or Alzheimer's have also shown fewer anxious outbreaks in their home when there is a dog present. So that can be really helpful if anyone, knows someone who has Alzheimer's, that something this small could really help them out. It obviously isn't going to cure anything, but it can be a big help. And lastly, heart attack patients who have pets survive longer than those who do not. So that's also something, cool how dogs can affect people with specific diseases. But lastly, a dog can if you're taking a dog for a walk, you're getting exercise. That's a positive benefit of having a dog. They can just, by looking at them, honestly make you happy. That is if you like dogs, but I'm saying for people who do want to be dog owners, and little things like that can just have positive benefits on your life pretty much. So I talked today kind of a lot about dogs, and I'm sure some of you have heard some of these things, maybe you have not, but just to wrap up, so the most common dog is a Labrador, and the most dangerous is the Pit Bull, according to statistics, like I said, not my personal opinion, and there's really cool occupations and just things that dogs can do for people in our community, which are amazing. So I appreciate them. They can be more than just a little animal. And honestly, if you have ever thought about getting a dog, after this, I hope that it will change your outlook and make you want to go out and buy one. So thank you for listening today, and I hope that you have taken something out of this.